For me, the problem with virtual learning environments is that they are very structured. I think this comes down to that many of them start at universities. Students can be guided through it because they're already motivated. Kind of looks a bit like this. There's knowledge at the top of some stairs, and the students are guided through the steps, lecture by lecture, through the virtual learning environment and the online course to gain the knowledge. In a primary school, because we have such a wide level of motivation amongst our students, if we only have one way of giving knowledge through a very structured sequence of programs, then we won't achieve any learning, or we won't achieve learning for all our students. So I prefer this sort of approach. Blank sheet of paper enables the students to be creative, but enables us to think where are they at right now and what are their next steps. Because, let's face it, the amount of knowledge we have to give them isn't as much as at university. They don't have to get as far, but they all need to get somewhere. So this is why I really like Google Apps. I can see how for a university you can make the knowledge secure and give the children the steps they need to gain that knowledge. But for me in a primary school, I can make it open-ended enough to keep the children motivated, to give them creativity, and to keep the staff motivated too. And what I really like about it is because much of the functionality looks like stuff that they've used before, it looks like a kind of Microsoft Word type format, it means that even staff who are very inexperienced with using computers can get on with it to the best of their ability, and that's what I found has happened in practice. So Google Apps for me has become like a blank sheet of paper. When the staff open it, they come to a screen that some children have designed the pictures for, which gives the staff and the children ownership over it, and teachers click their page and come to a second screen with a grid handily designed by my friend Mark Allen, and I've added things and taken things off it, learning a little bit of HTML. It's been quite a good learning curve for me. First thing we did on here was set up the behaviour section. You might notice that some of the words are red and they've got no links attached to them, and that's because we're doing it as we're going along, okay, and we're kind of talking about it as a staff. We're a small staff, so we've got the ability to do that. First one we did was behaviour, and so very simple web page in a Google site, and each of these hides a Google document underneath it. So if I click scoring, it will take me to the Google Doc, and this is a spreadsheet which I found really useful as the manager of behaviour around the school to track what's going on, because the teachers can put the scores of the children in, and each week I can give an average and say how well that class has done and give awards out and that sort of thing, and track the children who are struggling, track children who are doing really well. It's been a really great tool for me. Back to the home page. The next part of our development was setting up somewhere we could do planning. Initially, I set up a Google site with a file storage page to store planning, but it was a bit too fiddly and a bit too clunky, and staff didn't like it. So we put Dropbox in instead, and obviously Dropbox isn't a Google tool, but how I like to see the Google platform is it's like a kind of a big world of Google Apps. That's the cool things, but there are lots of satellites coming off it. So satellites like Dropbox, and like our assessment tool, which is Insert's a separate company who've now got single sign-on with Google, and these two tools are just examples of things that live off our Google world, if you like. But we've developed things in the Google world as well. So on our ICT page, we've only got one link here, and that's about eSafety, which has been a project we've been working on recently. And here there's a web page with a Google Doc embedded with our plans for it. And what the staff did is they went down here and they clicked Open eSafety Week, and then they edited it collaboratively, which is a really efficient way of working during that staff meeting, because it meant instead of me having to go around and chat to everybody about when the timetable would be and what the lessons would involve, we could all do it all at the same time, saved a lot of time, and everybody understood what each other was doing during that time, which was really great. So moving back to other features that we've got on our site, away from e-safety. You see, what I've done is I've created some pages behind this site, but I've also created some separate sites for specific things. One of those separate sites is the training site. So in here, click past, we've got all the records of all our staff meetings that we've done. So if we click whole staff meetings, you'll see that the safety one is there. There's an APP meeting. I can also click here for the drama training meeting, which has got a list of things that we did as memory joggers, but then also a Google drawing of something that will help the staff remember the training that they did on that particular CPD session. It's not just CPD though, there is also management tools on here. So one of the things that all the staff do is each staff member manages a subject area, and here are all the subject logs for the school. So if I click on science, for example, I'll find that Mrs. Dodd has hopefully been recording. Yes, she has. She's got some aims for the year. She's looking at some aims for the term. She's last updated it, I think, January. She's updated it, and so she's been using that, and then she shares it with me and also with the head teacher, so we can keep a track on how she's managing her subject area. It's a really great tool for us as managers. I think what's been even more powerful though is the engagement with the students. When the students log on, they come to this screen, very simple. They can go onto their email, which at the moment is just set for internal email, so we've got the hang of it so that a student can only email each other within school. The docs has been very powerful. We've just started developing sites. I haven't got very far with that, and blogs is still in its infancy. But if we click on docs, I'll show you the kind of example of things we've been doing. The rocket explanation was a piece of writing that about some rocket launcher lesson that I did with some of the children, and each of the children in my group have contributed a bit to this text. So helpfully titled here Millie's Bit, and she's drawn a little drawing inside and done far too many smiley faces there. We've got Hope's Bit, Katie's Bit, and all that sort of stuff. And then going back into the Google Docs, it's not just collaborating with the students, collaborating with each other, but also each student can share their work with me, so that I can then mark it online while they're doing it. And that's been a really powerful tool, because I can bring it up on the interactive whiteboard and bring the whole class to look at it and say, oh look, and maybe she should have written it like this, or look at this fantastic feature. And it's been a really great way of sharing good sentences, good word use, and that sort of thing. So all in all, the Google Docs has been a brilliant starting point. It's been that blank sheet approach. We haven't put too much content in yet, but the content is slowly growing as we develop it together as a community.